Picture this: Major William Cage, a military spokesperson, suddenly thrust into a war he never signed up for. This is not just any war, but an interstellar battle against an alien species known as the Mimics. Cage, who has spent his career behind a desk, is more comfortable with a microphone than a machine gun. He's a talker, not a fighter. In a confrontation with the stern General Brigham, Cage finds himself out of his depth. His attempt to weasel out of combat duty by threatening to use his media connections backfires spectacularly. Brigham, unimpressed with Cage's attempted blackmail, promptly has him arrested. The Major's silver tongue, it seems, has finally landed him in trouble. Cage wakes up in handcuffs at a military base, stripped of his rank and privileges. He's now Private Cage, designated as a deserter and a coward. He's thrust into the company of J-Squad, a ragtag group of soldiers who view the former Major with a mix of disdain and disbelief. The war against the Mimics is escalating, and every soldier is needed. Cage, the unwilling soldier, is sent into battle with nothing but a crash course in alien warfare and a suit of mechanical armor he can barely operate. And so our protagonist is thrown into battle, untrained, unprepared, and absolutely terrified. But here's where things take a twist. Cage dies on the battlefield, only to wake up back at the base, alive and well. Imagine being trapped in a cycle, a sequence of events that repeats itself with no end in sight. That's exactly what happens to our protagonist, Major William Cage. The first time he dies, it's horrific, shocking. He's thrown into a battlefield with no experience, no training, and meets a brutal end at the hands of an alien creature known as a mimic. But then, he wakes up. He's back at the base, the day before the battle, and everything is exactly as it was. The same people, the same conversations, the same orders. It's as if he's been thrown back in time. But he's the only one who knows it. This isn't a one-time occurrence. Oh no. Cage finds himself stuck in this loop of death and rebirth. Each time he dies, he wakes up at the same point in time, forced to relive the same day, again and again. His confusion turns to fear, then to frustration. He tries to change the outcome, to survive the battle, but each attempt ends the same way, in death. He's killed in every way imaginable, by mimics, by his own side, by the battlefield itself. And yet, each time he dies, he learns something new. He starts to understand the patterns, the routines. He learns how to fight, how to survive a little longer each time. His fear is replaced by determination, the will to break free of this never-ending cycle. But the question remains, why is this happening? Why is he stuck in this loop? The answer, as he soon discovers, lies in the alien enemy he's fighting. The Mimics have the ability to reset time, to learn from their mistakes and adapt. And somehow, Cage has inherited this ability. With each death, Cage is forced to relive the same day, over and over again, stuck in a seemingly endless loop. Enter Rita Vrataski, a legendary warrior known as the Angel of Verdun. She recognizes Cage's predicament, for she was once trapped in a similar loop. Rita Vrataski, a beacon of hope in a world overrun by alien invaders, is a decorated war hero with a reputation that precedes her. Her prowess in battle is unparalleled, earning her the moniker Angel of Verdun. The Angel, however, has a secret. Like Cage, she too was once caught in the inexorable cycle of death and rebirth. She understands the weight of his curse and the potential it harbors. Rita takes on the mantle of training Cage, transforming him from a reluctant soldier into a formidable warrior. She's relentless, pushing him to his limits, testing his resolve. The training is grueling, intense, and unforgiving. But Rita knows there's no room for weakness on the battlefield. Every death, every rebirth is an opportunity for Cage to learn, grow, and adapt. She uses Cage's unique ability to their advantage. His ability to reset the day becomes their secret weapon. Rita instructs him, guides him, and with every new dawn, they refine their strategies. They dissect the enemy's tactics, predict their moves, and exploit their weaknesses. Cage, under Rita's tutelage, begins to change. He's no longer the unwilling soldier we met at the start. He's becoming a warrior. His fear and uncertainty give way to determination and resolve. He learns to anticipate the enemy, to fight back, to survive. Rita's training is not just about combat skills, it's about instilling a sense of purpose, a will to fight. She shows Cage the importance of their mission, the magnitude of what's at stake. She teaches him the value of sacrifice, of resilience, of hope. Together, they form a formidable team. their combined strength greater than the sum of their parts. Each reset is no longer a curse, but a chance to fight back, to turn the tide. And so, with each reset, Cage grows stronger, more skilled, and more determined. Now, armed with knowledge and skills, Cage and Vrataski set out to end the war once and for all. They know what they must do. It's a daring plan, one that could end in failure, but they have no other choice. They have to attack the Omega, the central brain of the Mimics. This is the only way to ensure humanity's survival. Remember, the Omega is not just any enemy. It's the mastermind behind the relentless mimic hordes, the puppeteer pulling the strings. It's hidden away, buried deep beneath the Louvre Pyramid in Paris. This is no mere coincidence. The Omega is a strategic genius, using the world's most iconic landmarks as its shield, knowing that humanity would hesitate to destroy its own heritage. Cage and Vrataski don't have the luxury of hesitating. They know what's at stake. They plunge into the heart of the enemy territory, fighting their way through countless mimics. It's a brutal, relentless battle, one that tests every ounce of their strength and courage, but they press on, driven by the grim determination to save their world. But the Omega is not an easy target. It fights back, using every trick in its book. It's a tense, thrilling showdown, a battle of wills and wits. Cage and Vrataski have to dig deep, to push beyond their limits. They have to remember everything they've learned, every skill they've honed in their countless past lives. In the end, it all comes down to one final desperate move. Cage, wounded and on the brink of death, makes a last-ditch effort. He pulls a grenade, and in a blinding explosion of light and sound, he dies one last time, taking the Omega down with him. It's a victory, but a somber one. Vrataski is left alone on the battlefield, surrounded by the lifeless bodies of the mimics. The war is over, but the cost is high, yet there's a glimmer of hope. The Omega's death means the end of the mimic invasion. Humanity has a chance to rebuild, to heal, to move forward. And so Cage awakens once more, but this time in a world free from the mimic invasion. It's a new day, a new beginning. He has paid the ultimate price for this victory, but it's a price he was willing to pay. For Cage, Vrataski, and the rest of humanity, the future is finally theirs to shape. The edge of tomorrow has been pushed back, and a new dawn awaits. Edge of Tomorrow presents a compelling fusion of time loops, alien invasions, and unexpected heroism. We've traversed through the journey of Major William Cage, an unwilling soldier thrust into a war against an alien species known as mimics. We've seen him die, only to wake up again at the start of the same day, trapped in a relentless loop. We've watched as he trains under the hardened warrior Rita Vrataski, the Angel of Verdun, honing his skills and learning the secrets of the enemy. And we've witnessed the final battle, an epic showdown that tests the limits of courage and sacrifice. This is a story that blends the thrilling elements of action and science fiction, presenting a narrative that constantly keeps you on the edge. But more than that, it's a tale of transformation. In the end, Major William Cage moves from a reluctant soldier to the savior of humanity, all within the relentless cycle of death and rebirth.